What's up, everybody? It is Ted here with another episode of Bodies and Wicks, weekend edition, I guess you could say. Um, just gonna do a quick overview of a couple of things, some major ones, some minor ones. See what happens, see where we're possibly gonna go. And I know everybody's kind of freaking out about Bitcoin, but to be honest, what I'm looking at is normal, and we're probably going to see a little bit lower, and we'll see what's going to happen. But I would like to, wrong thing, sorry. What I'd like to do is go ahead and subscribe to this channel. This is all about smart money. If you want to know more about smart money, which is basically learning how to trade as an institutional trader, please subscribe to this channel, like the video, and also share it. Why not? So what we're looking at right now is Bitcoin on the monthly. All right, so check this up just a little bit for everybody so everybody can kind of see it. So what they look for in these kind of situations is an impact, attack liquidity and fill imbalances. That's the whole point, basically, of smart money. A lot of different niche things along the way. But I'm also studying for the Series 7 exam to be, financial advisor. So some new stuff I'm learning about this as far as financial investor, institutional investing is concerned, and it's helping me understand a little bit more about why these charts act the way they do. And let's see here. So if Bitcoin is basically at the bottom of the monthly fair value gap that it set back in December of 2020. Now, there is another fair value gap just below that where there is basically a line of liquidity. So there's two equal lows on a monthly level right here at the start of this monthly fair value gap, somewhere around 17,450. And I do believe, we're coming up toward the end of the month. As you can see, the monthly candle did have a spike up, pull back down. It's going to be closing below last month. So I do believe we are going to be moving more toward that direction. Now, what I believe could possibly happen tomorrow is that we could get a fake out and it possibly rise up. And then after it rises up, and then we fill up the rest of this weekly fair value gap, possibly, and then drop again. Not 100% sure, but just the filling up of those imbalances, that weekly fair value gap, could definitely be one of the reasons we see it fall back down. So what I am expecting is, where this blue line is right here, this 15,961, that is what is called your consequential encroachment. That is your halfway point in your monthly fair value gap. So I believe it'll at least get down to here, right? And one of the reasons I do believe it could still be falling, investors still see it as bearish, and so they still do want to, own the asset. They still believe it does have bullish in it, but what they would do just to gain a profit would be to throw a short on a future, basically. And so throw a short on a future once it gets to a certain point, which would probably be a buy stop right at where these lows are, and then as soon as it gets there, boom, it shoots down and gets to usually about the halfway point. Then you'll see a retraction, and then maybe get lowered down to this fair value gap on the weekly. There's a weekly fair value gap down there as well, and I think that would be the end of the bearish run that we would see, because if we have it if we fib it the way I was taught with smart money, you would do it with your last low go to your high. Okay, so then that would put us right now at about the 80%. That's when generally things turn around. However, I think it's more like this, what you would normally see. So now that 80% mark is somewhere around um, that consequential encroachment, and also below the fair value gap. So um, or around the weekly fair value gap. So around that is more like the 80%, just a little bit more than the 80%. So that's generally right around the time it does turn around. It's about the time when it turned around during the this one too. So if we fib this one out during the last big run of 2017 or whatever, not really sure when to start it, but probably somewhere around here, and move it up where it fell back to. Let's get down. Look at this. Right in the same area. The exact same area. Below the 80%, right around about the 88.6%. So this is nothing new. This is nothing new at all. It's falling back right back. We just had a huge run, but it's just falling back right to where you would normally see, uh, a retraction or a pullback. It's just pulling back a lot farther than what people think it would. That's all. So that's why I do believe that would be the end of that bear run, and then after that, it will probably be toward the end of the year or something like that, and then next year, hopefully, we start seeing it rise again. So that is my take on Bitcoin. All right, Ethereum, kind of similar, but really not. Um, as you can see, they did have the same kind of, if we do it from down here, do the fib, it did have the same kind of retraction, except for it did get a lot lower. All right, maybe I just didn't pull this low enough. I don't know. Either way, it's still around the same area. So maybe pulled up here. Yep, right around the same area, around the 88.6, somewhere around there. Right before it did take off and start going again. The good thing with this one is that we did have those fair value gaps in the monthly. It has came down and filled that up. I really don't. I think there's one more down here, but there's a big order block above that. I don't see it getting down below there. Um, so the fair value gap monthly, it has come down, and actually got inside of it, inside of that imbalance, and then after that it pushed its way out. But what it did is it came back up, and this imbalance up here, this monthly fair value gap, it filled up the rest of it. So generally when it fills up a fair value gap, it fills it up both ways. It has to come down one way, fill it up again the other way. All right, so it filled it up, and now you see it start retracting again. So here, I'm gonna remove whatever kind of fib I have on here, and then we're gonna put a new one on it. And we're gonna go from the bottom here all the way to the top. Okay. And as you can see, it got down below again, right around that 80% mark, and it could be doing it again. Could be following it all the way down, getting below that area, where there could be some liquidity lying. And again, large money investors still seeing this as a bullish, asset. holding on to what they have, but then again, just to earn more income, shorting the future of it. So, but and as they get in, as they short the future of it, uh, once it gets down to the bottom, buying up more assets because then you're getting at a great deal, huge discount price, and then you see it start moving up the opposite direction. So again, Ethereum, I think, still in the same kind of boat, pushing down before it pushes up. Next one I wanted to go over quickly. It was, of course, my favorite, Monero. I did want to go on the monthly on this one too. Because it's basically, it's at the lowest point I think we've pretty much ever seen it. Or at least this chart shows anyway. And I am using CoinX chart because that's the one I usually traded on. Um, so, but then again, I don't really know it. I mean, it looks like it did kind of already shoot for the low that it could get. I'm thinking that this could be a rejection block. It could spike down and get to the bottom here at about 110 and then start retracting back up. I do believe that's what we could see if that is a rejection block. Let me check and see if that is a rejection block. I do have an indicator that could tell me that really quick. And it's called BosiesXWix version of Smart Money Tools. And it's actually this thing called super fair value gaps or something like that, a super order blocks by Machu Picchu and I don't know, and FA or something like that. Okay, there's too many on here already. Didn't mean to click that many. And I think I have to plot the order blocks, or not the order blocks, but the rejection blocks. Let me go back in here and find out where the rejection blocks are. Yep, there they are. Plot rejection blocks. Hit OK. All right, well, maybe they're not rejection blocks. It's just showing the break of structure right here. But it is showing, a bearish order block up here, which is why we got that retraction. I don't know. I'm just kind of waiting to see because honestly, it could get about halfway through, the bullish order block or the bullish candle here, the small bullish candle. And that could be it. Actually, these could be the rejection blocks. Because if that's the reject, because you can see 1, 2, 3, where there's 3 lows. And this just happened to get lower than that, but then again pushed back up from it, and now it's coming back down to about that same spot. So that could be the rejection block itself. And then after that, Monero could start running up again. I mean, Monero is one of the, especially now they've taken Ethereum away, mostly mined coins. So that's why we could see an influx of this, is that more people are mining it. So there's more coins in the market, and since there's more coins in the market, not enough liquidity, and so you're seeing the prices drop. So, but they're getting to a more attractive price to where people should start buying it up again. That is my take on that. Another couple things to look at. Algo will be the next one. And Algo has been interesting lately. Because it did, it did that rise. Oh, and yeah, it did that rise. And then it pulled back down. It ran back up. I want to see. Yep. And now, okay. So good. So it didn't get down to where I thought it was going to get before it continued rising. But within the last, couple days, it has been coming up. And now we see it start filling this fair value gap, which is this purple box here. I think it's a weekly one. So you can see it pull up and pull back down, pull up, pull back down. So it's definitely filled that imbalance. So now that it has filled that imbalance, I do believe we should see it continue to start rising. So, and where would be the next place to go? Well, of course, right above where it is. But I would say the next target, I always like to look for confluences um, with current Fibonacci's. And as you can see, look at this, right around the 1.5 times the standard deviation should be the 150%. You do see that it lines up exactly with a high. So I do believe this is where it'll be coming next. This should be where it should be coming next. So we put like a little path mark here. There we go. Not real sure if it's going to retract back even more, but I think it should get up to right around there, right around 43 cents. And that should make some algo people happy. After that, let me see here. We have that. I want to take a look at Flux really quick. Just because this is another one that has been, kind of on the minds of the miners. The miners have been mining this quite a bit. So I think this was the one that actually rose up really high and then fell back down. But it's fallen back down to right around where we would expect it, the 61.8% of a smart money Fibonacci. So a smart money Fibonacci is your last low before it breaks a high. So after this run up, I don't even know if that broke a high. That was just your oh yeah, here it is. So it looks like here was your last high before. Oh no, never mind. Here we go. Now we're getting more and more. So, but still, this was still kind of like your swing high over here. So this was your last low before that, and runs up and breaks those, and then gets blocked by the order block over here. So if I were to draw a trend line coming straight here, over here, you see it pretty much hits that order block, gets retraced, and that probably retraced down to, if I were to move this, it would be about the same, the 61.8%. This time moves up, back down, and then this time it rushes up. So here, if somebody's owning Flux, right, and they wanted to, let's say they sold up here, but they wanted to protect their assets, or the earnings that they had, once it got to close to around this area again or above this high, that's when they would put, uh, a buy stop on a future or something like that on it. That way they could protect those losses and actually earn more, because then it would be going up. So you have these gains that you had, from earning from down here or whatever, all the way up to here. You want to protect those. So how you protect them? You actually put another buy stop just below it. That way you can buy it up at a little bit of a cheaper price, and it's going to go up over where that last high is, because that's where all the liquidity is. People expecting it to buy short, things like that, and it just gets to a new high. So then it has, retraced since then, of course, and now we're just wondering where it's going to go next, or at least I'm wondering where it's going to go next, because there's a couple of places I could think of one of them is down. I mean, I don't think it's going to get down here to this value gap. There is this low area that did drop low, but I doubt. But there is equal highs up here. So I think we may be at the end of this kind of run. We should see like a little more of a consolidation box. And then after that, we should see some distribution going on up here. After that, let's check out XRP. I know we had that big run up the other day, all the way up to about 56 cents. My thing was, it's going to retract back into about 45. Hasn't gotten there yet. But this was the path that I drew, that I believed, and I think I even threw this on Twitter for people to try to look at, because up here, this is a 15-minute fair value gap, and after it dropped, came back down, and then hit this. This is, I think, is a daily fair value gap. It just barely touched it, ran up, and then hit the 15-minute fair value gap. And then once it fell back down, there was a 15 or 1 hour and a 4 hour fair value gap. So of course, it's going to naturally try to enclose those, which it did both ways, and then drops again. And then this one was a 4 hour fair value gap as well. So now it is taking its time filling that in. And then once that is complete, I do believe we will see Ripple drop down to about 44.55. All right, and I think that's about all I'm going to do for tonight. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you learned something new. I will put up my website address. I do have kind of a generic website that you can go into, and I am putting together something more formal. For people to learn. And there's 2 different forms that you can fill out on the first page. One is going to be for more of this kind of thing, but it's going to be more, more private content, more knowledge that I don't share with the public. Also, like a schedule of events, things that we know be catching up on, crypto during the week, what to expect. Things like that, but more in depth, and also, you'll also get access to the Telegram channel. And then there will be another form just below that, and that form will be only for the Telegram channel. So that will be just for signals that I will find. I will throw them on the Telegram channel. If you don't feel like you don't want to learn something, you just want to have somebody tell you where you think it's going to go, and then go there. So far, most of my calls have been right. If we go to the Tradingview homepage, you can see that my last 3 calls were almost dead on. Just because I took a year-long mentorship with a great TA person with the Inner Circle Trader. And I learned everything from him. That was all in Forex, though. I've kind of translated it over into crypto. It works the same exact way, because it all has to do with, large, I forgot the word, but, institutional, that's the word, institutional investors. They have a certain way of trading, and I'm starting to get the hang of how they trade and why they trade the way they do, and so it's making more sense to me now. Even after I took the whole year-long mentorship studying for this Series 7 exam, it's pretty much all about like options and things like that. Not really about futures, but they kind of serve the same purpose, except for with options you just have to hit a certain price. That's mainly the biggest difference. So if you're interested in any one of those, I'll leave the link to my website. It's on the front page. You may have to read a little bit and go a little bit halfway down, but then you'll see the forms, and then the forms will let you know which one to choose if you're interested in doing something like that. If not, continue watching my videos. I'll be continuing to put out, generic content like this, trying to help you understand what smart money is. And keep a lookout for my Tradingview. I actually did get it changed to where my name is now BosiesXWix on Tradingview and not Tedzily like it was, which is kind of a nickname that I have. So you can look for BosiesXWix on Tradingview. I might throw a couple more calls out there, before I get this whole, uh, private mentorship slash, Telegram channel, signals thing going. Once I get that going, then I'm gonna kind of try to, tighten everything up. That way, I'm not giving too much to the public, and I'm giving more to the people that are going to be paying for these monthly um, uh, services that I'll be providing. And if I have my Series 7 by then, unfortunately, I'll probably have to cut everything off. That's the unfortunate thing. So it'll be one of those things too where you might want to jump in. That way, I can hopefully help you out, in the short term before I get my Series 7. Once I get my Series 7, then that's when I'll be, working for a bigger investment firm, something like that. Something like Edward Jones or something, or there might be like a smaller one around here. I don't know. But either way, that's what I'm aiming for, and because I am aiming for that, I am asking for if anybody could throw out some donations that would help me with the cost of um, the exam, because there's two exams you have to take. The first one I'm not so worried about. It's $80. The second one, which that's called the SIE, it's like the practice exam. Right after that, then you have to take the actual full Series 7 exam. And the Series 7 exam is $300. And not only is it $300, but it's also 3.5 hours long. So I'll have to get prepared for that, which I am preparing for that. The next date to get to take it is November 8th. So hopefully, if I can get some people to sign up for these things, whatever, I can get at least the month of October in, um, to help people out with, either learning smart money or just getting the signals. So again, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you all had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I may be back tomorrow. You all have a good night.